What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we have a green day over here in the cryptocurrency market. Yesterday, when I recorded my video, it was pretty red, but then it turned green for the remainder of the day. So two kind of back-to-back green days. We can see over here with Bitcoin that it had kind of poked itself down as I was recording. Once the video went live, green and green again. So I think we'll always take those days. Of course, we all know we're still just like stuck right here in the middle of this range, but you know, a little bit of green to keep the week going. We'll take it for one day at a time, right? I posted over here on Twitter this morning kind of a continuation of what we talked about in yesterday's video, kind of narrowed down some things on the chart. Yesterday was kind of some guesstimates on a few things in regards to timing and things like that. So I dove deeper into it this morning in a tweet saying if Ethereum continues to follow the bear market structure of an ABC correction, as Bitcoin did at the top in 2018, it would actually finish its retrace around the early half of September if it keeps following the timing schedule it's been moving at. Now, of course, this would indicate that the top of Ethereum has already come in back there on November 10th, which is when I did make my final update for Ethereum over there on bcbacker.com, as I posted to Twitter on November 10th. And what we're looking for is for a retrace to come in here for Ethereum, even though the top is already in. I've had a lot of replies over there on that tweet saying, yep, new all-time highs coming in September. Nope. That is definitely not what this says. This says the top came in back in 2021, but based on what we've seen happen before and the fact that Ethereum's market cap did double that of Bitcoin from 2017, hey, we're looking for some of that wealth to get spread throughout the remainder of the altcoin market. Now, we'll dive into this today. We'll talk about how that lines up with Bitcoin because these dates do show confluence over there on the Bitcoin price chart, and it lines up with catalyst events that are happening in the United States. And of course, we'll talk about what that means for the altcoin market and how, while this may not seem like the greatest thing for Bitcoin and for Ethereum, certainly would be good for the altcoin market. So we'll dive into all that today. Before we get started, as you guys know, Link2 is a partner of the Blockchain Backer YouTube channel. And for the rest of today, Link2 will be giving back $1,000 in XRP for every investment that is made into Ripple. If you're unaware of what Link2 is, they give you the ability to invest in private companies before they go public. So private investing made simple for accredited investors gives you the opportunity to invest in these companies before they hit the public markets. I do personally have investments over here at Link2. I have funded my account. I have used the wire transfer method. Everything went smooth. If you'd like to see if you can get accredited, you can check out the link in the description of this video to Link2 and head over here to get accredited and see if you can get yourself an account set up today and get that $1,000 back in XRP if you're interested in investing in Ripple. So that's for today only over here at Link2. Now, we'll start this off with some good news. In yesterday's video, when we were diving through all of this, and I'll take all this slop off the screen because it just looks like squiggly lines at this point, but there is sense that can be made out of this madness from a structural perspective. Looking up here at Bitcoin back in 2017, the initial crash from Bitcoin that took place in here, followed by a corrective wave, another corrective wave, and another corrective wave, which equates to an A, B, C correction before Bitcoin went off and continued to plunge even further, right? No new all-time highs, but it did have a corrective wave. And as we've discussed many times on this channel, it was into this moment right in here as it got back to its 702 Fibonacci retracement. That's where the altcoin market was euphoric and parabolic at that point. It has been my belief that the top of Ethereum was set back there on November 10th. That's why I made my final update for Ethereum on that day. You guys know it. I don't have to rehash it. I've said it 100 times on this channel. I think the top of Bitcoin and Ethereum are already in. But yesterday, when we were diving into these structures, we were measuring out how long these things were taking to play out, how long this corrective waves were taking to play out. And it said it pointed to somewhere around October, right? So I got down into the nitty gritty. I really started running the mathematics and measuring these things a lot closely with more precision. And, you know, there's two different mathematical ways I can run the equation to say if we continue following the same time format of what we're doing in this corrective wave compared to what we've seen before at tops before, is that it actually gets us there somewhere between September 5th and September 10th. Does it mean it's going to hit those precise days? Of course not. But if we were to mirror this, and we can see that this corrective wave that happened for Bitcoin to get this first A wave was 92% of the time that it took for the initial fall, and that for Ethereum, it has taken 90% of the time compared to the initial fall. So if we kind of assumed, hey, they're moving pretty darn close to the same velocity from a time ratio perspective, how long would it take for it to finish out that C leg? And if we measured based on a ratio of how long it took to complete the entire ABC correction, or if we measured based on a ratio of how long the A wave took in relation to this, either way, I don't want to get it too complicated. There's two ways that we can calculate it out. Both of them end us up right here in September to finish the retracement before Ethereum would roll over and head significantly deeper into a bear market. So again, this is just for a retrace for Ethereum, but the nice thing is that Ethereum hit like a $560 billion market cap, whereas Bitcoin only hit $330 billion at this time. And it was into this retracement, altcoins went mad. I mean, XRP went from 22 cents to $3.30 when Bitcoin was a $330 billion asset. We know that Bitcoin's gotten over $1 trillion during this run, and the number two asset, Ethereum, got to $560 billion. So there's a ton more money to rotate, so it's got me all excited. But I also, have to look at this and say, all right, well, what does the timing perspective of it look like? Not because I seriously think I have the capacity to be able to predict time, but I know it's the question that you guys ask the most. But either way, in yesterday's video, we're talking about, hey, like October, right? Well, both of these things take us actually into September, and I can tell you that really quick, right? So like if we look at the length of time it took for after the crash was done to complete the ABC correction, took a total of 184 bars for Bitcoin, whereas the initial crash took 61 bars, which is 3.016 times the amount of time it took for this fall to happen. So if we look at Ethereum and how long this fall has taken, it's taken 76 bars, multiply that times 3.016, and we get 229 days, which is where you can see this represented here, 229. That gets you all the way out there to September 10th. Or if we look at Bitcoin over here and we say, hey, look, the amount of time it took from the completion of the A wave to completion of the C wave was 128 bars, whereas it took 56 bars to complete the A wave. So if we use that ratio, that's a 2.28 times the amount of time it took to complete the A wave. Use that same equation, calculate that based on 68 bars that it took to complete the A wave over there on Ethereum. Takes you another 155 days from the top of the A wave. So either one of these, they both get us right out there to the early part of September until a retracement can be completed. Now, there may be some grueling and grinding and moaning about September, but hey, that's good news, man. Yesterday, I was saying October. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, set low expectations and then exceed them. So now we're talking about September. Now, my thought process has always been that Ethereum and Bitcoin will go into the retracements at the same time. I made a video about this back on December 28th, where we were calculating what would happen if Bitcoin and Ethereum went into the retracement at the same time and the Bitcoin dominance was dropping at that time, because that's what I believe is going to happen in this market. And in the end, it pointed to a $2.35 trillion market cap for the remainder of the altcoin market cap, where the rest of the altcoin market cap can rise. However, Bitcoin and Ethereum are both done, since both of them have already completed 4.236 extension bull runs for both Bitcoin and for Ethereum. So it's nothing new for me to think that both of them are going to do it at the same time. It's been my thought process the whole time. And, in this video, we're talking about the Bitcoin dominance falling, Ethereum's price falling down, which, as you can see, we had not even taken the plunge yet at that time, but looking for the retracement. And same thing for Bitcoin, taking a further plunge and going into a retracement. And in this video, we were calculating what would happen if both of these things went into the retracements at the same time while the Bitcoin and Ethereum dominances were falling. And all of this was done before the bigger fall in Bitcoin actually ended up coming. So I'm just trying to kind of lay the groundwork. This has been the consistent messaging of what I've been looking at for quite some time. And I catch a lot of flack out there for, believing that about Ethereum and believing that about Bitcoin. And you can see I'm not like, worried or panicked about this. And yeah, it doesn't say it's going to happen overnight. But what I'm excited about is the fact that we're getting clear structures coming out of here. I mean, these are clear as day that these are so incredibly similar. The timing is similar. The wave counts are similar. All about it is great. Meanwhile, you got a really ugly looking Bitcoin over here that's just been grinding sideways, and it's got a lot of people confused out here. But we can see the confluence happening over here on Ethereum to show these corrective structures coming in, right? And I've pointed to this for a long enough time that many of you are sick of hearing it, but this is the focus of my channel. It's not the thing that you want to say in order to grow your YouTube channel. I mean, my growth has slowed down tremendously because I'm not sitting here trying to come up with every single thing to, say that Ethereum's going to the moon or that Bitcoin's going to the moon. They're not. I don't think they're going to. I think they're done. that's not what most people want to hear. Most people want to hear Bitcoin's going to go up. Why? They've been accumulating Bitcoin for a year and a half above $30,000. If you've been accumulating Bitcoin and your average accumulation price is $45,000 and you spend 2 years accumulating like that, and I'm over here telling you that it's eventually going to crash later this year and head down into the teens or even lower than that, you don't want to hear that, right? You're going to gravitate towards the people that have the biases of what you want to believe. And so that's not the point of what this YouTube channel has ever been about. Am I going to point to optimism? You better believe it, because I think there is optimism coming. I think it's coming for most things in the market except Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think it's coming during this time. And I'm super excited to see the structure, because this is what we want to see happening in here for the rest of the altcoin market. And you guys know I've exited Ethereum. I've exited Bitcoin. I'm positioned over there in the altcoin market. We've got the setup going on over here that was great for the altcoin market. That rocks. That should be exciting for people. The unfortunate thing is there's such a big herd in that Ethereum and in that Bitcoin world that all of this is viewed as FUD. But you can take it for whatever you want. You can think all of it's nonsense. You can gravitate towards the moon predictions and all that stuff. These are very clear to me. There's no FUDding here. This is all legit, clear stuff right in here to me. But I'm excited for it. But okay, so moving along, back to September, right? Why is this so cool to see this lining up and these measurements happen right in here to take it to September, where we've been looking to see if Ethereum and Bitcoin can go back into the retracements in September. The thing we've talked a lot about is this, long and grueling retrace happening over here for Bitcoin, which Blockchain Trucker replied today and said, if there's ever a time I hope that you are wrong, it is when you talk about a long and grueling retrace. Other than that, I love you, brother. And I replied, well, I guess I need to rebrand it as more quality time for us to spend together retrace. So in the more quality time for us to spend together retrace within this upward parallel channel, where does the 702 Fibonacci retracement come in here on the upper bound of the channel? It happens to be right over there in September. Now, I will openly admit that are all of my eggs and all of my marbles placed on us staying within this parallel channel the whole time. And I'll tell you right now that they're not. And it's a very simple reason why they're not. And that's because if this is an ABC correction in here, and we'll go back and look at the structures again, this B leg can come all the way down here, all the way back down to the base of the beginning of the A wave before it then eventually works its way back up. So that's for another day. And I think it's very possible that the bottom of that channel does actually get breached at some point, because you can even go back in here and see that that did happen in here. And that would also indicate that that's likely going to happen over here for Ethereum as well. And you can see that it breaches the bottom of that channel right in there. What does it do? It comes back tests the bottom of the channel and takes one more push down, right? Still not setting a new low, breaches the channel, then works its way back up, crosses back into the channel and works its way back up to retracement. So all my marbles are not placed on this actual bottom boundary of this channel down in here, because we're also assuming that these two wicks are the actual boundaries of them. But, just for the sake of it, just for saying, hey, look, we're looking at it like this, right? Where does the top of this thing come in here? It comes over here in September, which, as we've talked about with the more quality time to spend together retrace structure, we just grind sideways like that for a very long time. So even that, the upper boundary, 702 retracement hitting on over here in September, while we've got this pointing over here to September, if we continue following along with an ABC correction. So I'll take it, man. I'll take clear reads on the market all day, regardless of time. Whether or not that makes anybody upset or sad to hear September, I'll take a clear read on the market any day. And that even though it's taken quite a while, it's taking some time, these are the things that we've been looking for. These are the structures that we were looking for to prove that the top of the market was in for Bitcoin and for Ethereum, for an ABC correction to show up for Bitcoin, for an ABC correction to show up for Ethereum. And that is precisely what we're seeing happening over here on Ethereum, mirroring the ABC correction of what happened to Bitcoin back in 2018. These are identical, even from a time ratio perspective. And for those who are super bullish on Bitcoin and super bullish on Ethereum, that's not the best news. But for those who are looking for alt season, this is where the chaos happened. And especially at this moment right in here, and you're seeing it for yourself right here on Ethereum, that the setup is mirroring precisely what happened then. But What has to happen in a market for something like that to occur? For those who were here in 2018, who were here in this moment for Bitcoin, when we got right here, you have to understand what the sentiment of the market was like. The sentiment of the market did not think that Bitcoin was going to roll over. It was not clear. It was not easy for most of the market. They didn't pay attention to Fibonacci retracements. They didn't care about 702 Fibonacci retracements back in 2018. At that time, the market was euphoric. It's what you call your return to normal phase, where the market has spent enough time being bearish and scared that they finally can't take anymore. They capitulate, they buy, they think we're breaking out into new all-time highs. There's tons of YouTube videos out there. There's tons of ideas posted over there on TradingView, tons of stuff all over Twitter that we're going to break out into new all-time highs and we're going to be excited. That is what occurred when we got back to that retracement. I would fully expect the exact same thing to happen for Ethereum when we got back right there. Fully. That we'd see the exact same stuff happen when I was saying I'm selling my Ethereum on November 10th, 2021, when I'm sitting there spending a month screaming about Bitcoin's top coming in back there also in November and December of 2021, that the majority of the market did not believe that that was the top. That is the exact same behavior that will happen back at the retracement level. I've been in this game long enough to be able to understand sentiment of the market and behavior of the participants in the market, to understand Twitter, to understand what happens in those Twitter spaces. If you want to start listening to Twitter spaces, you can hear the tone of these people when they're talking. You can hear when they're euphoric. You can hear when they're depressed. They are always euphoric at tops. They are always depressed at bottoms. So it's more than just even reading it in comments or seeing tweets about it. You can actually hear it in their voices in these Twitter spaces. And I promise you, when we get back here, there will not be a wall of worry for the masses that they will believe we're going to break out into new all-time highs. And so you have to say to yourself, looking at the geopolitical landscape that we have right now, looking at the economic landscape that we have right now, you have rising interest rates, you have the dollar getting stronger, you have the housing market worries because these interest rates are getting so high and these home values are so high. You have a midterm election coming up soon. Of course, you have war. All of these things, why would people euphorically buy here? Why would people euphorically buy the top of an altcoin market run? Why would they buy the top of a retracement of Bitcoin, the top of a retracement of Ethereum, and feel that they have no choice but to do it? What could the narrative possibly be there in September? And it dawned on me that back on March 9th, this executive order was written, and in here is that within 180 days of the writing of this executive order, all of these departments are supposed to report back to the White House on framework for cryptocurrency. 180 days from March 9th, 2022. Where does that get you? Gets you right there to the beginning of September. Now, do I have the ability to predict how quick they're going to move stuff? Does this reporting mean that anything is going to be enacted right away or whatnot? One thing we know is that prior to this executive order coming out, a lot of stuff was getting leaked ahead of time, right? We actually knew about this executive order like a month before it ever came out. Is there going to be leaking that happens prior to that 180 days? Are we going to learn that regulatory clarity is going to be coming to cryptocurrency? Are we going to have the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit wrapping up by then, or wrapping up at that time, or way before then, or whatnot? But I imagine what happens in the cryptocurrency market if suddenly we get the all clear from the White House, from the government, for regulatory clarity to come out, and we all get the green light, and suddenly the masses can all feel comfortable to come in, and all the institutions can start advertising it to all these people that they can buy cryptocurrency, right? Imagine that, right? Imagine all of that happening here in September, 180 days from March 9th. We get back into the retracement. There's leaked stuff coming out ahead of time. The market's running up and going ballistic into September for the altcoin market. Bitcoin's back at the retracement. Ethereum's back at the retracement. Altcoins are flying. SHIB, Doge, whatever, all of them. XRP, all of them flying. And then boom, regulatory clarity, green light to everyone. What do you do at this moment? Do you sit there and say, I've waited so long for this moment to come, for regulatory clarity to come, the masses are allowed to enter, it's time for me to sell. That was a great ride. No, it's not going to be like that, right? It's going to be like super exciting. It's going to be like, holy cow, a whole lot more people are about to pour into this market. This is so exciting. This is what we've always waited for. And people will YOLO into the market. People won't sell into that moment. because the narrative is too good. It's what we've always waited for. It's for what we've always dealt with the whole time we've been in this market. We've been called criminals. They've been putting us down. They've been saying this is for, underground dark markets. It has been a rough ride through all of this. And then finally we get our vindication at this moment that we're a real asset class. And you're telling me at that exact moment, that's the time to say, finally, we're vindicated. Okay, let me go ahead and sell my whole bag. No, it's going to be hard. That won't make sense, right? Just like it won't make sense to sell your Bitcoin right after Elon Musk announced that Tesla bought Bitcoin, right? But it's really just always like that, right? Tops are always marked with super excitement where the whole market is excited. Bottoms are always marked by complete fear in the whole market where everybody believes the prices are going to go lower. And then, of course, tops are marked by where everybody thinks the prices are going to go higher. And, this video's had a ton of rambling in it, right? But, I just wanted to point to all these things and just kind of talk about the sentiment because I am excited. I do think these things are going to happen. It's how I have all my bets placed in the market that it's going to play out this way. So, of course, I believe that this is how it's going to play out. But, part of all of this is having the emotional disconnect from what everybody else is doing. And if you don't have that ability to recognize how the emotions of the market are, and if you're really active on Twitter, if you're really active watching lots of YouTube videos and just active in a lot of communities, and you get caught up in that excitement or you get caught up in that fear, those things can negatively impact you. And so I'm just trying to kind of talk about my perspective from all the lessons I've learned from being in this market for so long is that I've seen it all. And I've seen what happens with the sentiment at specific phases. We saw what happened with the sentiment back in November and December for Bitcoin and for Ethereum. I had tons of content creators calling me out by name saying that I was wrong at that time, right? But it was right. And so we know that when that time comes, a lot of content creators are going to be pushing a bullish narrative at that time too. So it's going to be really difficult because so many people are going to be on that same side. So my thoughts are going to remain the same. My thoughts are going to remain that I'm bullish and optimistic on Bitcoin and Ethereum to retrace, to do them at the same time, like I've been anticipating this whole time. And it's nice to see these lineups happening for time for both Bitcoin and for Ethereum. And we have the potential for a news catalyst, a big news catalyst to occur around that time as well. So I know not everybody loves the idea of waiting until September for the peak to come in, but it doesn't mean it'll be grueling and boring the whole time. This essentially means this is where all the danger is at. Danger, danger, danger in September. But hopefully the excitement can start way before then. So definitely not expecting new all-time highs for Ethereum by making this post, merely a retrace, but I am very excited for what it means for the rest of the market based on what we've seen happen before. And I know sometimes as time passes by, we can sometimes forget the big picture. And I wanted to bring this back in to reiterate, these have been my thoughts and I still have the same views. So on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. Video got a little bit longer and it's a little bit of a later release today. Like I mentioned, I am traveling this week, so videos will be a little spottier this week. But hey, I did get one out today. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Link2 is running a promotion today. In that, Link2 members will get $1,000 back in XRP for every investment made in Ripple today only. So you could check out Link2 by visiting the link in the description of this video, where they make private investing simple to invest in pre-IPO companies before they hit the public market. Check out the link in the description to see if you can get accredited. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.